Hello, everyone. It has been about a year since I did my last YouTube video. There's a reason for that. I have been through a lot of interesting challenges this past year, which I'll get into a little bit. But I was inspired today, for some reason, today is the day, to do a talk on one of the very important themes in A Course in Miracles, which is remembering to laugh. Remembering to laugh. Laughter is healing. And when we're in a state of laughter, we cannot be in a state of fear at the same time. So I'm going to get into this, but there's a line in A Course in Miracles that says, "Into eternity, where all is one, the Son of God remembered not to laugh. And in his forgetting, that forgetting produced seemingly real effects. We thought we separated from God." When we took what the Course says in that line, this tiny mad idea, which is the thought of separation, we took that seriously and thought somehow that we could be apart from our source or God, whatever you want to call it. And A Course in Miracles gets into this story of the ego, of how it appeared to come about and how we appeared to be here in a world of duality, a world of time and space, which A Course in Miracles refers to as a dream, an illusion. It's a purely non-dualistic thought system. So it's very important to remember not to take ourselves too seriously because this is a dream. The same idea is as if you were dreaming in bed at night and you might have had a very intense dream, but you wake up and you know, your mind knows that it was just a dream. So we wouldn't necessarily take that dream too seriously because we know that it didn't happen. None of the events we saw in that dream really happened. Our mind made it up. A Course in Miracles is teaching us that this world that we appear to see is also a dream, just a different form of dreaming. And we've also made up all of the characters in this dream. The story of our lives is part of the dream. We happen to be the hero of our dreams, right? We're the center of our dreaming. But everything, just like in your dreams in bed at night, is all made by the mind. Because mind is cause. And the screen, the projection, the world, which is the world of time and space, is the effect. So it's very important, and this is why I wanted to talk about this, to remember to laugh not at people. We're not laughing at making fun of somebody or laughing at someone's expense. No. When the Course says remember to laugh, it's talking about we're laughing at this idea, this tiny mad idea that somehow we know better than God, that we could really separate from him and then make up our own world where we become our own gods in a sense, and kind of pushed away our source that created us. And that's something that we can kind of poke fun at in a light-hearted way without judging ourselves. In other words, it's impossible, the Course says, to separate from God. It's actually literally impossible because we've never left our home there. We've never left heaven. We've never left this awareness of perfect love. That's what we really are. So that's what that line means. When it says the Son of God, which is all of us as one, we're all one Son of God together as one, just one Son appearing as 8 billion people, but it's really one, forgot to laugh. We took this idea that we could be apart from God seriously. So That's the backdrop. I won't go into the whole detail again, because it's been said many times over, and actually many videos about A Course in Miracles, about how we appeared to get here, in more detail. But I really want to focus on how do we practice this idea that we're not separate from God when we appear to be in a world of time and space, and in a world where there appears to be so much discord, so much upset, right? Everything here is based on separation. And all we see here are images. We're image makers instead of creators. We forgot what it truly means to create. A Course in Miracles talks about creation as the idea that what God creates is exactly the same as him. And what God creates is called the Christ. And again, the Christ in A Course in Miracles is all of us as one Son of God. So creation is really the idea of extending love. It's not about, oh, I'm creating this new project, I'm creating this new book, I'm creating a painting, I'm doing this or that. It doesn't mean we don't do those things in the world, because that's part of our scripts that are set up. But when A Course in Miracles talks about creation, it's going all the way to the true source to reality, which means we extend love as God extends, and that's how love expands, as that we see love everywhere. That means now that we appear to be in a world of time and space, we can choose to think like God, like what the Course calls the Holy Spirit, which is really the right part of our minds that remembers who we really are, where we came from. It's the answer to the ego's story. It's the answer to separation. And the ego is based on, right, the idea of separation. So that's the wrong part of the mind. Then we have the right part of the mind, the Holy Spirit. So it's important to remember to laugh at the idea that we could really pull off the impossible, which is be a separate, special, individual self that now is different from all these other people that we see out there on the screen, and different from our source. This is all part of the illusion. Now, this doesn't mean that we're not following our joy here, following our true passion here. We're really, really set up to follow whatever our passions are, our natural talents. We're set up to do the things we're doing now in this world of duality, because it's part of a script that has already happened, and we're reviewing it, we're reliving it. The Course says the world was over long ago, and we're merely mentally reviewing that which has already gone by. To me, knowing that is a blessing, because then that means we don't have to take things that come up as challenges too seriously. Now, I say this knowing that that's not easy to do. I say this knowing that this can still be a difficult process, because when we go through something that can be very challenging, and something maybe can come up in your life that you don't expect, and it can throw you for a loop, and you know what, it can be quite fearful, and that's okay. We don't have to judge ourselves for that. We can work our process. We can go do the normal things we would do, go to the doctor if we need to. If you need to take or do something that helps you feel better, if you need to be on medication, you know, the Course is not saying we neglect or deny the world or our experience here, because that would be an unworthy form of denial, because we believe we're here. So it doesn't mean, even if we get sick or something happens to our bodies, you know, doesn't have to be something life-threatening, but even if it is life-threatening, the perspective of the Course is still, this is not our reality. Our reality, we're still perfect love in our home, you know, with God. And that's so comforting to know that we're going to awaken from this dream of separation. And when we awaken, all these things we appear to have just disappear. Or if we have an illness, or if we the story of our lives, just, right? It's not the real you. You're the figure, right? You're a figure in this dream, but you're making up the dream. We've all have, as one mind, made up the entire dream of time and space, and all the different facets of the dream, and all the different characters in the dream really comes from the one mind. This all got projected out all at once. You could call that the Big Bang. You know, that the great projection of a world of time and space. But the world of time and space, and even our own personal stories of our lives, are all happening in the mind. So if it's happening in the mind, and if you have something going on that's really, really troubling to you, or you feel is the source of great upset, it's really nice to remember that this is a dream and that we made it up. And then when we awaken from the dream, just like our dreams in bed at night, they're gone. I mean, in other words, true meaning is that which is eternal. True meaning is that which is truth, not illusions. So the idea is now that we appear to be here living out lifetimes, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, until we become enlightened, we remember who we really are, just as Jesus did, who is the voice of A Course in Miracles. Jesus remembered who he was, you know, that he was not really a body, you know, that he was still at home in God, just like all of us. And he was teaching us that 2,000 years ago. And he was teaching us how we can look upon the world and look how we see and think about the world and people and other people, really looking past the errors of others and letting go of our judgments of ourselves and others, and seeing truth in its place, seeing innocence, seeing wholeness, seeing others as nothing less than God. And we can remember to laugh and not take this dream too seriously, because it is a dream, and you will awaken from it, and you will understand when you awaken that ultimately there really was no world. It was all in the mind, all part of a projection. But until we get there, we need the world in a sense, but we can change the purpose of the world and use the world for the Holy Spirit's purpose, which is for forgiveness. To forgive all the things that come up in our lives, even the scariest thing you can think of, and learn to forgive. The kind of forgiveness that says, you know what, I'm dreaming this. And I forgive myself for these projected images and myself for dreaming them. Nothing's really happened, and I haven't really sinned. I haven't really separated from my source. If I'm feeling pain, well, the pain is also in my mind. It's not even in my limbs, in my body. I'm feeling pain in my hand right now. I feel it in my hand, but I know that it's really in my mind. If it's in my mind, even if I'm feeling it in my hand, I'm still really feeling it in my mind, even though it doesn't seem that way. And it means I can change my mind about it. And remember, the guiltless mind cannot suffer. The guiltless mind cannot suffer. I've experienced in the last year quite a few different things. I mean, I've had, I didn't expect it at all, but tendonitis, in both arms, soreness in my legs, frozen shoulder, stiffness in the hand. I know we're a little bit how this got started, but it's kind of like, wow, I'm sore all over. So there have been days that have been difficult, and I'm not here to, I want to be, raw and honest and go, gosh, sometimes appearing to be in a body is not always easy. And the last thing sometimes we want to hear when we're not feeling our best is just, sometimes, someone might just quote a line from the Course, but that sometimes we're in a place where we just need to be in our space and not skip steps and just go through what we need to go through, but we can always remember the foundation. That's the key. Even if, we do what we need to do in the world, like I'm going to physical therapy right now, or I'm doing whatever I need to do to help myself feel comfortable, be well, as well as I can, right? And because that's a loving thing to do. So I'm not denying my experience here, but at the same time, I remember the foundation of truth. That's really important. I say to myself, even though I'm going through what I'm going through now, and it's not comfortable, I can still go, okay, but I made this up. It's still part of a vast illusion, a vast dream. And this is not forever. This too shall pass. The guiltless mind cannot suffer. I remain as God created me, and his son can suffer nothing, and I am his son. Those kinds of ideas, or whatever ideas you pick out in A Course in Miracles that helps you or inspires you to move through tough situations, use those. Those can be really, really helpful. And remembering to laugh, even. Sometimes it's hard to do when you're feeling, pain. And I'm reminded if I feel pain, not only is the pain in my mind, I remind myself that I don't want to confuse symbol with source. So the symbol is the world, or the hand, or the arm, or the leg. Oh, and I think that's the cause of my upset because that's where I'm feeling the pain and it's upsetting. But that's a symbol still. The source of the pain is in the mind. And according to A Course in Miracles, the source of all pain and suffering can be traced back to the idea that we really feel like we're sinful, guilty creatures that have separated from God. That's the ultimate source of our discomfort. But we have forgotten that. So one way to work with that is, again, we don't neglect and do the normal thing here in the world. We can take care of ourselves, whatever that means for you. Whatever way you feel is healing for you, do it. And you can always practice forgiveness at the same time, which the Course says is healing. Forgiveness and the acceptance of the atonement is actually the same thing. And the acceptance of the atonement means that you are remembering that you're still at home in God and that nothing really happened. This is just a projection. And when you do that, atonement and healing are not only related, they're identical. But it does take practice over time to really keep reminding the mind to think that way. Another way to undo the ego and this idea of separation is practicing true prayer. And true prayer really is putting yourself in a space of gratitude, bathing in the love and light of your Creator, Source, God, and just bathing in this gratitude that you remain, no matter what appears to happen in your script of life, but you remain as God created you, and that will never change. So you're sort of bathing in this sense of gratitude, not even asking for anything you think you need, because God already knows, the Holy Spirit knows what you need before you even ask. It's already a given. So it's not about, true prayer is not really about going to God and going, oh, please heal my arm, heal my leg, heal my hand. Oh, I need more money. True prayer in the Course is not about that. True prayer is, as Jesus said so beautifully, that we seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and then all else will be added unto you. So true prayer is seeking first the kingdom of heaven, because you're going to God and just accepting yourself as you really are in truth, and feeling grateful and just bathing in that love and light of gratitude, that truth, that the basic truth that you're still at home in this awareness of perfect love has never, ever stopped or changed just because we decided to make up our own world apart from God. So now it's all about this remembering. That's what the miracle also is in A Course in Miracles, is this remembering that we are love and we came from love and we can't be ever apart from love. And if we are being love, we don't have to go out seeking it anywhere if we're remembering that. And Jesus was demonstrating that he remembered love, who he was. He was love, not a body, not a persona, not this man named Jesus, but he was love. And he demonstrated that. And that is why, that's healing. And that's why people that came into his presence would be healed, but they did need to have faith and sort of match that vibration he was giving off, sort of having that faith. And that, so they, in a sense, by joining with Jesus in that space of love and that awareness of love, they healed themselves. But they did have to join with him and sort of meet him in that space. But he was able to be the facilitator of that for people, facilitate healing. But again, being in that, being able to sort of raise your own sense of, right, truth, of spirit, vibration up to that level and meet him where he was, those people were healed in his presence, although he assisted, of course, with that healing. And we all have that potential, right, to join with the Holy Spirit as Jesus did and heal. Now, sometimes, and by the way, laughter again equals healing. And there have been many, many wonderful stories about how people heal themselves with laughter. Because you truly, when you have a good belly laugh, or you're just laughing in general, it really, really does raise you up. You know that song, you raise me up, you raise me up, right? So you can, right, climb every mountain. I'm paraphrasing the words here. Sorry about that. But you raise me up so I can stand on mountains, right? You raise me up to more than I can be. That's what joining with the Holy Spirit does. That's what joining with the Holy Spirit does. It lifts you up where you're meeting the Holy Spirit sort of halfway, and you're remembering who you are. You are going into the quiet center, which takes practice. It takes practice to do that. But when you do this, and when you remember to laugh, and again, we're not laughing at people like other people at their expense. We're just laughing at, the silliness, almost just poking fun at the silliness of the ego and taking the ego so seriously and putting our faith more in the ego, in our story of our lives. We're putting our faith more in that and the world to solve our problems than God himself or the Holy Spirit. Right? We're putting more faith in something that's an illusion instead of the Holy Spirit, which resides in the right part of our minds, and having faith and trusting that no matter what happens, even if you appear to pass away, that doesn't have to be judged as a negative, because you don't really die. There is no death. There's only a belief in death. So even if you're in a, you know what? In fact, death to some might be like a punishment or like judged as something terrible. But if we all remembered, right, what happens at that moment when we appear to pass away, it's one of the most amazing, loving experiences we could possibly have, because that we're going back home to our true self and we're awakening to our true self. That usually in the world is death is judged as something negative because we don't understand it. We forgot that's our real home, is spirit, right? Even if we're not fully awakened from the dream, even on the other side, we can still appear to be dreaming, right? Until we're really awakened from the entire dream of separation, that we're separate from other beings. So when I've been out of my body, I'll give you an example. I've been sort of what we call, you have an out-of-body experience. I've had many. So this is why I can speak about, oh my God, it's liberating to be free from the body. And there's nothing to be afraid of for that. So there's nothing to judge as bad or negative. The problem is that we become so attached to this world of time and space and to the people that are in our story, the stories of our lives, and the parents that we've chosen here, and maybe our siblings if we have them, or good friends that we have here. Doesn't mean we don't enjoy our family members, right? We love them with all our hearts, and of course we do, right? Of course we do. But we become attached, and that's why we become upset when they appear to leave the world, because it's reminding us, excuse me, it's reminding us of the separation all over again. It's reminding us of that we've really separated from God when a loved one passes. It doesn't mean that we're not going to be normal, of course, and we miss our loved ones when they pass, and that's a normal human reaction, and it's perfectly okay to have that. It's totally normal. I still miss my cat Luna, who passed away last December, on December 3rd. I know she's in a good place. She's visited me a dozen times, physically came to visit me where I could pet her again and things like that. I still miss her, but I know she's happy. I know she's in spirit, and that's she's back at home, and she may even come back and to appear in this dream to visit us. But I know that she's happy. I know the truth, but we're experiencing ourselves as human beings here, so it's perfectly normal to have reactions and it's okay. So as a Course in Miracles student, which I am, I do teach it, but I always consider myself a student of the Holy Spirit. So I know the foundation of truth. I know that love is the only reality, but I also know that it's not very loving to deny my experience here, or if I have certain emotions, I'm going to allow myself to feel that, because you know what that means? That you're not skipping steps. It means that you're not skipping steps. In other words, you're being honest with yourself of how you feel about things. So when things come up and you feel an emotion, that means there's a reason for that. And that means there's something there to be forgiven. And you can work with forgiveness and bringing healing to that. And that's the point of the Course. The whole Course really is it's a course in forgiveness. It's about undoing and reversing our mistaken choices, like our choice for the ego. And remembering to choose, that we have a mind that we can choose the Holy Spirit, which gives us a whole nother interpretation of the story of our lives, and a whole nother interpretation of how we appeared to get here. And it gives us our power back. So this is what I've been thinking of during this time when I have my own physical issues going on. I've been thinking of, and I'm doing the normal things. I go to doctors and do treatments or whatever I need to do to help my body. But at the same time, I forgive. Remember, forgiveness is remembering. It's not really forgiving something outside of us that we think happened to us or someone did something to us. Because A Course in Miracles teaches there's no outside. There is no outside. This is all happening in our minds. It's all part of a dream. And we're dreaming our own dreams. So this is why there's no outside. So forgiveness is really about forgiving the thought of separation or the belief, that we could really be hurt or be apart from God, forgiving ourselves for our own projections. And so it's not really between bodies, forgiveness. It's a thought that occurs in the mind. And it's about accepting yourself as you really are and remembering your reality. And again, I have to repeat it. It doesn't mean we deny our stories here. It doesn't mean, if you enjoy, right, follow your path. If you enjoy being a doctor, you go to school and you be a doctor. If you enjoy accounting and you like to work with numbers, you go and you go to school for that, or you go and you get certified, or you work with numbers, you be an accountant. If you love acting, you go to acting school, or you just become an actor. And whatever you love to do, there's a reason for that. It's part of your script and you can follow it and not feel guilty about it. And as a Course student, I often find people feel they need to stop doing certain jobs because this world is an illusion. So if they're an energy healer, for example, they say, well, maybe I should stop being an energy healer because the Course says that energy is really a miscreated thought. And, maybe I should stop doing that. No. In fact, you could be helping many people that need that form of healing. It doesn't matter what it is. You could be a massage therapist. You could work with Reiki. You could be, the world needs these things. Not everybody's, on the path of A Course in Miracles. And so A Course in Miracles or may not be the thing for them that helps them in this point of time, or that thought system. There are many paths to God. And so it's very important to allow people to have the beliefs they have, or have whatever faith keeps them moving forward, keeps them going, or that inspires them. But I do think it's important to have some kind of practice, some kind of faith. It doesn't matter what it is, whatever works for you, because this will help you move through life and through challenges. And although I'm going through what I consider a great challenge in my life, it does help me to be able to have a foundation, a practice. So I really wanted to share that. And it is very healing to laugh. And it's whatever that means for you, watching funny movies, telling funny stories, or thinking about your life and times, or things that made you laugh, or just things that just make you feel really good and fuzzy and good. And, it's perfectly great and normal to do those things. So to sum it up, what I'm really saying is, although the Course is a non-dualistic thought system, and there's really one reality, and that's the reality of our source, of God, and that's perfect love, and everything else is made up and an illusion. That's level one. But Jesus talks to us as if we really are separate individual. Our separate individual bodies because we believe we are. But he's really talking to us. He's really talking to the mind, to the one mind. The part of the mind that believes that we're here and really here experiencing our lives, physically. We're not. This is a projection, but it feels physical. And we are having an experience that it is an experience that seems very real, that we feel physical. It really does. But we smell things in the mind, we see things in the mind, we hear things in the mind. Again, just like our dreams in bed at night, you can wake up with a sweat, because you really felt something in your dream, or maybe you have actual physical visceral reactions. You're seeing images when your eyes are closed at night, and you're seeing those images with your mind. Your eyes are closed when you're dreaming at night. Your eyes are closed, so we wake up dreaming that we're opening our eyes and starting and continuing our life stories, yet that's still also happening in the mind. Do you see? You see? As my eyes are open now, my mind is dreaming this. It's just like I dreamt I opened my eyes in the morning. I'm going on with my days, going on with my story. But I just dreamt my eyes open, so it feels like this is a more real dream than the dream is in bed at night. But if there's something intense going on, I can kind of be a little bit playful. Remember to be playful. This is the theme why I'm talking about this today, so you can remember to laugh and be a bit playful, maybe not take our lives so seriously, because even if it's something that's hurting you, we don't have to deny that, or again, and allow yourself to acknowledge it. If something's hurting you, feel your emotions. If you need to see a therapist, see a therapist. At the same time, you can kind of maybe take moments throughout the day, take pauses, take moments, and just reflect and remember who you are. Remember, you're not really a body, or just have loving thoughts about yourself. Feel compassion about what you're going through. Ask the Holy Spirit for help to join with you and look at it with you from above the battleground, which is one of my songs, by the way, that I recorded that it's on one of my videos, if you'd like to hear that, Above the Battleground. It's in an interview I did with Carl Gruber. And you'll be able to hear a couple of my songs there. But I wanted to mention that too, by the way, because as a musician, which I am as well, I love to write songs that are about empowerment. Although I love the pop world, and some of my songs have a pop feel, some have a Celtic feel. I write across the board, all different country songs. Just I enjoy writing songs, but I like writing songs though that do empower people and that also reflect the truth and remind people of the truth. That inspires me, and so I hope you were inspired or found some inspiration from this talk. And I'll end it here, and I wish you many blessings. And there, again, as I said a year ago, there will be more videos, just like I'm putting out one now. But I will try to do more often, more videos. I think it's important to talk about things as they come up. And even as a course teacher, to be raw and honest and talk about, boy, this has been a tough year for me. Too, it's been a tough year for me with things I've been going through. And so it's nice to have a creative outlet and write my songs, and even share them when I can. It's part of my creative outlet with the teachings that I do. But so thank you for listening, whoever's listening. And I look forward to seeing you online again soon. Bye.